Welcome to the Wednesday edition of Bible Time. I'm glad you were able to join us today. This is Pastor Bruce, and Bible Time, as you know, is just a short little commentary that we provide to go along with the Believers Fellowship daily Bible reading. And I trust that you are reading through these chapters, not just dependent upon these 6 or 7 minutes of commentary. Today we're looking at Job chapters 20 and 21, where Job's friend Zophar starts off in chapter 20, and you can tell he's insulted by Job's response, especially Job's warning to Zophar and his two buddies at the end of chapter 19. And he ends here with Zophar's response here, ends the second round of his friends, speaking to Job. And it's the same story. Hey, Job, the wicked suffer. You're suffering, you must be wicked. And Job's response in chapter 21 is brilliant. He says that's not always the case. In fact, this is the same dilemma that was faced in Psalm 73, where the psalmist says, why do the wicked prosper? I'm trying to be godly, and I seem to be suffering all the time. And so it's not always the case that the wicked suffer and the righteous never do. Now, the righteous do suffer, and the wicked sometimes seem to prosper. And here's the thing about Job's response. I mean, you think about what he's gone through. You think about the incredible, just the physical pain that he's experiencing, and yet he's able to give this clear-headed response to Zophar. He's thinking clearly about what's reality. He's able to respond by pointing to reality, by pointing to the facts. Hey, the facts don't support your argument here. And he appeals even to common knowledge. He says, hey, you don't want to hear it from me? Well, why don't you just check anybody who's passing by? Check with travelers who have gone around. Ask them, do the wicked always suffer? I mean, this is an incredibly clear-minded answer, a rebuke, rebuttal to Zophar's argument, to the argument of Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar. They're always saying that the wicked suffer. You must be wicked. Job is saying you can't draw that conclusion. And it's an amazingly clear argument. But you know, here's the thing to think about as we come to end of round 2 here with the friends. I've made comments on Bible Time. People have left comments on the YouTube channel regarding these friends. And you know, we are not only learning about triumphant faith through Job, which is the primary message of the book, but I trust that we're learning too from the bad example of his friends, because you know what, you and I, we've been those friends. You and I, we've done some of the same things that these friends are doing. They're not believing the best about Job. Have you ever been guilty of not believing the best about somebody? In fact, they're assuming the worst. Have you and I ever done that? So, see, we can be like these friends. They're not dealing with reality. They presume to know what is going on. None of them knows what's really going on. None of them knows about the conversation between God and Satan. They think they know more than they do. They're not dealing with the reality. I mean, these things happen to Job. What they should be looking at is, how is Job responding to this situation, and how can they encourage him in a godly response to this situation, rather than assuming the worst about Job and saying there must be some hidden wickedness in your life and God is bringing it out. They're dealing with what they don't know rather than dealing with what they do know and dealing with it properly. And not only that, they're throwing down some really bad theology here. This idea that it's the wicked always suffer. They're throwing down some really bad theology. They're misrepresenting God. Some of the things they say are good, sometimes not so good. Have you ever been guilty of misrepresenting God and talking to somebody else? You see, we need to learn. I mean, it's easy. I'm glad that all of my counsel to everybody I've talked to in my life isn't recorded in Scripture. Maybe you could be glad of that too. But they think that they know what's going on. They speak very dogmatically. No, no, no. This is how it's got to be. And when Job responds to them, they just get more fired up. They get more angry. They throw more coals on the fire here. And that can be us too. We're not willing to be humble and acknowledge that, yeah, maybe I don't understand what's going on here. They're not going to do that. We need to be careful. We need to deal with what we know and not try to presume upon what we don't know. And we need to speak the truth. Yeah, we do need to speak the truth. And there are some things they could have said to Job here that could have been really helpful and dealt with some of the attitudes that he's displaying here. But we need to speak the truth in love. Love believes the best. Love gives the benefit of the doubt. That's what we need to learn. We can be too much like Job's friends, and it's easy to criticize them. But what would you do? What do you do in these kind of situations? So we're learning some valuable lessons here, some very practical lessons. We're seeing the story of triumphant faith as God works in this man Job and uses him as an example. But we're also learning some things too about how to counsel others. And we can't counsel like we know everything that's going on. Like we can read the situation and we can determine what the real issue is. We're not that smart. And so we need to be careful, and we need to speak the truth. We need to deal with what we know, not what we don't know, and we need to speak in love. So let's learn the lesson here from this valuable lesson, and let us be good friends to others. And we'll see you tomorrow for more Bible Time.